How sensitive is your sin sense? Because it's very important for your sin sense to stay sensitive. Because if you become numb to sin, you will become more accepting of it. And of course, that's what the devil wants. He wants for your sin sense to become dull so that when you see sin, you're just okay with it. That's not the way it's supposed to be. We need to keep our sin sense high so that we do not become numb or dull to sin. Many, many, many years ago, I don't even remember how long ago, but even in my sin, the Lord dropped this phrase in my spirit. And I kept it. Like I wrote it down and I kept it and I never ever forgot it. And here's what it says. It says, we generalize and familiarize to compromise our beliefs. And I kept asking the Lord for more. Like, is there another part to that? But it wasn't even about there being another part to it. It was more about diving into what it is, diving into the meaning of that. And let's break it down. We generalize and familiarize to compromise our beliefs. So check this out. When it comes to sin, when sin is put in front of you on a regular basis and constantly, it starts to become familiar to you. And when you start looking as, oh, well, everybody's doing it, you're generalizing it. But because you're seeing it often, you're familiarizing yourself with it. To compromise your beliefs. You believe one way, but the more you keep seeing something and the more you see everybody else doing it, you start to compromise your beliefs. And something that came into my head was, let's just say New York. Because New York, there's a lot of people on the street all at one time, passing each other, passing to get to their destination. And let's just say you're on an everyday, weekly, monthly basis, passing the same people all the time. The more you see them, the more you become familiar with their face. The more you see them, you become more accepting to them. Even though you don't know them, you feel as though you do because you have become familiar with seeing their face. But just because you have become familiar with seeing their face does not mean that you know them. That person you may see every single day, but you don't know what that person is like when they're at home. You don't know what that person is like when they're in a relationship. You don't know what their relationship with God is like. But because you are so used to seeing their face, you become more familiar and more accepting. But you could be accepting a rapist, a serial killer, because you see their face all the time. You're familiarizing yourself with that person, but you don't know them. The phrase says we generalize and familiarize to compromise our beliefs. The more you see something, the more you become accepting to it. The more you become numb to it. It starts to dull your senses. We have to be on guard so that our sin sense does not become numb or dull.